Okay, folks, please rise to the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call this meeting to order and announce that we had an executive session held on December 10th at 12 p.m. after the function to discuss personnel. We also had an executive session held on December 13th at 9 a.m. to discuss real estate and an executive session tonight, the 17th at 6 p.m. to discuss personnel and real estate.
You guys have been busy.
All right.
Thank you.
So the first order of business after that is the bills list?
Yeah, approve the minutes.
Oh, minutes. I knew I wouldn't be able to be mistake-free. At least I got it out of the way early. Okay, I need a motion to approve the minutes from
I
the
move
last
to
meeting.
approve the minutes from December 3rd, 2018.
Second motion.
Any comments from the audience? Seeing none. All those in favor? Aye. Now we can go to the bills list. Tonight's bills list we're looking to approve is the township bills list is $75,515.85. The reimbursable bills list is $6,683.59, and they total $82,199.44.
I move to approve the bills list dated December 17th in the total amount of $82,199.44.
I'll second motion.
Any comments from the audience? Brian? How can we help you tonight?
First, we'll get them right. Quick question, there's an entry in there for Morgantown Auto Parts. And it's, let's see, some jet fluid and battery and port charge. And I inquired about that. That was for the for the Gator, which I believe the township really doesn't use it a lot. And so my inquiry is that thing on one of these automatic battery chargers which goes and floats it, basically, keeps it in good condition for many, many years beyond the normal expectation?
Gentlemen, do you have any idea
I
on
have
that?
no idea.
Kathy, can you look into it and give them a call?
Okay, thank you.
Anything else, Brian?
That's it?
Any other questions on the bills list? Yes.
The festival in the park there.
You're gonna have to,
Oh,
I know it's a pain, but people in the back and I can't hear.
Festival in the park, 18 signs. Is that for the October festival?
I believe it was, yes.
That's in addition to the $400 and some for signs that were in the last month's bill?
So the next one for $400 for signs, Maria?
I don't think it was for signs last month. There was other expenses, but I don't believe it was for signs.
Well, there was one for signs for one of the festivals.
Oh, yeah, they were different signs. There were some that were billboard signs, and then some that were signs out here. Different companies did them.
Were they for the festival in the
The
park?
fall festival, yes.
That makes like $700 for signs for that.
They can all be reused next year.
Say that again, Maria?
They can all be reused next year.
Did you save them?
Yes,
Where are they?
they are, I believe, either here or, not sure where they are.
I can't hear.
They upstairs?
They're upstairs.
Thank you.
Any other questions on the bills list?
She said the signs were upstairs.
I'll call for a vote. All those in favor of approval?
Aye.
Aye. No announcements, no correspondence, no subdivision plan. We have made two mistakes. Treasurer's report.
She's not here.
So who wants to do the treasurer's report? You're the one that brought it up.
Who did I? Okay, for the month ending November 30th, general earned income tax was $188,376.32. Open space EIT and interest was $92,056. Real estate tax current year is $25,734.63. Delinquencies for real estate tax was $305.83. Real estate transfer was $238,453.26. Other income, $39,135.28. Public safety income, $31,853.15. Sewer income, $15,664.53. Liquid fuels interest, $17.21, for a total of $631,540.77. Year to, did you read all these? She doesn't usually read them, oh, sorry, okay. Year-to-date revenue is $9,927,307.70.
$9 million figure? That sounds a little high.
It's for the year. You just sell the sewers for $1 million. Monthly expenses was $1,234,019.19. Debt service was in there for open space and general funds, and so was the Rocco Builders, or what road is that? Or bridge? The Rocco?
That was, Flint
Flint?
Road and,
Flint, okay.
yeah. Spoils.
Total year expenditures, $6,403,830.59. Public safety was $1.7 million. Public works, $1 million. Administration for $500,000 around. Debt service for both was $700,000. Open space expenditures, $976,000. They're the main ones.
Can we put copies of this in the back?
Yeah, they have. Let's see. Total operating funds, $2.5 million. Open space, $1.2 million. Other would be $6.1 million, for a total of $9.9 million.
We don't have to do
Yeah,
that.
pretty much it.
Was there anything on there like changing the accounts that might be mentioned that we didn't mention last meeting?
No. No.
Well, we did do some things, didn't we?
Well, that was, we mentioned that last meeting.
I just want to make sure we.
Yeah, the moving the accounts to higher interest bearing accounts.
I think that's why I've had my hand up the whole time you've been talking about that. Thank you, John. I like to come over here.
Okay.
It's more fun.
That's my good ear.
So I've heard. I was trying to ask that question that you had asked Mike, because I was looking at this pretty page and it has all that red stuff on it. And it says these funds combined in December to form the new higher interest capital accounts. But that's just in the account. You're still going to be accounting for those two line items separately in your books, right? One's capital improvements, one's.
Oh, yes,
improvements.
yes,
So it's going to
yes.
be two different line items in the budget.
Yes.
They're just in the same interest-bearing account. Is that true? That's what it sounds like. I'm just trying to understand.
Can't answer that.
And it has the sewage money in it too. Or is that a separate one, the new Pliget account?
The new Pliget account would be the sewer plus. So it's
I just have to
$500.
do this because John's not here. I don't know if he's sick or what, but I miss him, so
You know, I don't know the breakdown on the actual accounts. If there are just one account with $5 million, for some reason I don't think that's true. The road improvement, there's D&B, and the capital, I think, are separate accounts at D&B.
And the
Yeah, I can't
Pliget
answer
the
that.
Pliget is someplace else.
Yeah, and I think we wanted to put $5 million into a single account. That way have been spread over, 30-day CD, maybe 3 month, maybe 6 month, and some money market accounts. Or, it says prime class, he's not breaking it out. I'd have to check to see if that is in one account.
And I
I can't
noticed on
imagine it is.
this page with the pretty pie chart,
Mhm.
it has an asterisk that says public safety includes a whole bunch of things that sound like that, but then planning and zoning and hydrant services.
You're
I guess
looking at
hydrant
expenditures?
services make sense, but what is planning and zoning got to do with public safety? Shouldn't that be like some other general administrative?
We're gonna have to ask Michelle to give you, I don't wanna give you wrong answers.
Okay.
So can you make notes and call?
Yeah, I would.
I assume she's got your phone number?
I don't think so. Kathy does.
Yeah.
Michelle doesn't.
Yeah.
But I could bring my questions back next month if you'd like.
No, whatever, it doesn't matter, I'm sure.
I'll let Michelle know tomorrow.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? See if we can put it away, Mike. Where are we? Which one? Next is old business, public hearing. Joe, do you want to handle this?
Sure. At this time, I'll open the hearing to consider an ordinance that would expand the UCC board and to include Warwick Township.
And north and south Coventry. North, south, and Warwick.
No, I think it's just include one.
So what's the add?
That has to add Warwick to it.
Yes.
No.
Yeah, it's only adding Warwick.
Oh, we already did those. I think.
Yeah, the others are members already. So it's only to add Warwick to the UCC board. With that, I'll introduce the following court exhibits. Emailed to the Mercury dated November 27, 2018. Board Exhibit 2 is the proof of publication, published December 3, 2018. Board Exhibit 3, a copy of the attested ordinance to the law library. Board Exhibit 4 is the ordinance itself. Board Exhibit 5 is the legal notice. Board Exhibit 6 is the intergovernmental agreement. And with that, we're simply just adding Warwick to the UCC Appeals Board, in addition to North Coventry, South Coventry, and ourselves. Any questions from the board?
Could you explain what this is to the audience?
UCC Appeals Board is a board that hears appeals of building code type issues, and it's required to have certain experts on the board. You need contractors, tradesmen, things like that. When you have a small township, it's hard to find those particular areas where that you cannot properly fill a UCC Appeals Board. So it's not uncommon for a group of municipalities to get together and form one board so that that board hears all the complaints for all 4 municipalities. It's common practice, other than the big townships that do that. Any questions from the audience?
Who's already in?
Got to, other than that,
The question I've got is there any cost sharing involved in this, or is this just more expertise sharing amongst the various townships that are members of the compact on call?
can I answer that, Joe?
Sure.
I don't believe there's any cost to it unless the board actually meets and incurs expenses, then they're gonna be prorated.
Amongst all the townships then?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Well, actually, I'll go in. So then when they came up for the Dewey issue, then it was the cost were shared amongst all the members at
I
that
believe
point?
that is the case, that's why you didn't see any, it's very small.
Okay, thank you.
Sarah?
You sure that's not?
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Yeah. That's why I used the word believe. I believe it is. I don't think we bore the cost.
We paid some costs
We
for
paid
that.
one cost.
Did we pay all of it, or just,
I don't think we do.
who are the other municipalities in
North and
this
South Cumberland
UCC?
Street.
And us,
And now, or will be.
Warwick? Okay, so it's just those four.
Right.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the audience? Hearing and seeing none, we'll close the hearing, reconvene into the public meeting portion of the agenda. This ordinance is now in a position for your consideration.
I move to adopt ordinance number 186-2018, authorizing West Vincent Township to expand the regional UCC Board of Appeals to include Warwick Township.
I'll second the motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next is the adoption of the 2019 budget. It's quite a long. Bernie, do you
Right,
want
now
to-
that one.
You got it. Go for it.
He's deferring to you.
Oh, he is, all right. Damn, how do I get screwed? I move to adopt the proposed 2019 budget in the form presented to the Board of Supervisors, consisting of the general fund revenue section titled Taxes, Building, Fill, the Department, Culture, Recreation, Unclassified Operating Revenue, Other Income, Public Safety Inspections, in the total amount of $4,410,850. An expenditure section titled Administration, Governing Body, Buildings and Plant, Community Development, Cultural Recreation, Data Processing, Debt Service, Engineering Services, Unclassified Operating Expenses, General Government Administration, Public Safety, Code Enforcement, Emergency Management, Fire Companies, Planning and Zoning, Police and Public Works, Winter Maintenance, Secretary, Solicitor, Tax Collection, Treasurer, in the amount of $4,367,160, with a total net income of $43,690. The open space revenue in the total amount of $1,498,000 and a total expenditure of $1,498,000. The liquid fuels revenue in the total amount of $253,720 and total expenditure of $253,720. The sewer water fund revenue in the total amount of $55,000 and total expenditure of $55,000. The new capital fund revenue in the total amount of $1.6 million and the total expenditure of $1.5 million with a net income of $100,000. For the total of 11 pages in detail.
I'll second the motion.
This is posted on the website,
Yes.
and we've met the advertising requirements.
Yes.
And we can do this just with a regular motion, Joe?
Yes.
Any questions from the audience? Sing.
As you know, I sent a lengthy letter with a million questions to you guys. Thank you for answering most of them. Question I have for you tonight is, you just read off a long list of things on the budget. Did that include the police contract? It sounded like it did.
Yes.
Well, there's a complete list of every account that we have in the budget assigned to it.
But you did mention the police in that budget, right? And what you just read?
Oh, public safety, probably other public safety, I guess.
Because
Because
my,
police is not mentioned separately.
okay, well, I'm not sure what your nomenclature is that you use. But my question is, how can you approve the budget if the police contract hasn't been settled? And it's my understanding from what you told me that that's on the horizon, but it hasn't happened
Right.
yet.
Well, it's a budget. It doesn't mean that
You're committing to that's what your expenses are, or,
pretty much, and your revenue.
okay, when I,
Doesn't mean you adhere to it 100%. It's a budget. It's an estimate. It's not an actual.
okay.
So we
it's
can-
not
we
like
can
my
go over
wholesale
budget.
that I stick to.
Well, those people aren't that good. So yes, we can go over budget or under budget, and we do every year.
Okay, so are you gonna discuss the police contract tonight? That's what I came for, if that's not gonna be discussed.
It's not on the agenda to discuss, but I assumed it was coming up on a
Okay,
public
should I
comment.
wait?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Sarah? Yes. Yes.
I'm just looking, and I don't understand the open space fund page, where the draft revenue and expenditures add up to the same amount. Does that mean you're spending all the open space money in 2019?
And that's wrong.
You mean open space?
I'm sorry.
Open space fund, it's called right
It's
here.
in accounting, you have to show it to move it forward if it's not spent. So it's in,
No, but she has,
No, it
she has a
shows
good
it.
point here.
It shows the
Okay.
revenue adding up to 1,498,000 and the expenditures adding up to 1,498,000. And none of the line says carryover.
Well, okay, yes.
So how
it
does that
Under-
work?
Under open space fund, under revenue, there's a account number 05141 that says open space tax prior year. So it's the funds moving over from prior year to be used in this budget for
Right.
2019.
So that's part of the revenue, I understand that. But you're not showing an expense of open space fund for the future year. You're not showing anything transferring over. You're showing 4 lines of acquisitions, maintenance, revenue bond and principal, and revenue bond and note interest.
Right.
So you're showing expending 1.498.
Right,
So that's all of the revenue you would have
right.
in the year. You're showing spending it all.
but it's not earmarked for any particular.
Okay, well, let's go through this, okay? I think what happens is you try to estimate what your expenses are.
So
Expenses
you're
are-
estimating you're going to spend
Yeah,
$334,000 on acquiring open space or help facilitating the acquisition of open space.
that's what, that's what she has.
And then the $658,000 is tearing
We're
down
covered,
the
right.
things at Brincoed, and we hope that it does not cost
That much.
$658,000.
Okay, now, so if you look at the revenue from open space is estimated at $825,000.
Yes,
Okay, so to balance it, it looks like we're pulling $658,000 from
let's,
prior year to cover the expenses that we expect next year.
so your implication is that the only money we're going to have left at the end of December is
No,
$658,000?
because we have, I think, let's see, I don't know what I have, I don't have a financial report. I think there's 1.2 million right now in the account, in open
Okay,
space. So we're gonna pull 650,000 out of that for next year. So there'll still be X amount left over in open space.
your implication on this page of the budget.
Is that we're spending
Is that-
1.5 million basically.
Oh, and let's go back, you were talking about revenue a minute ago. The revenue says prior year 658, which does match what you intend to spend on
Right.
demolition.
Right,
Then you show open space tax, 825.
right.
That money is what this 334, the 395, and the 110 comes out of that, right?
Yep,
So the revenue that we get pays the debt service, pays the interest and principal. And then there's some money left over for future. This shows no money left over. This shows, I asked you this when I saw the draft budget. I said, are you going to spend all of the open space money? Because at the time you showed 1.4 million and
and I'm telling
as
you,
revenue and expense, and you said, oh, no, but you're still showing it that way.
now we're showing what we're gonna spend. It's
Now
not
you're
what-
going to spend 1.498,
That's right, okay, based on that report.
and none of it
that's-
says carry over to 2020.
Okay, hold on, hold on.
Time out for a second. If you don't feel comfortable giving that answer, this is Michelle's area.
Yeah,
I'm sure, sorry, she's not here.
I think we have, I think she has a balance here, maybe. Okay, open space funds as of November is $1,260,673. Okay,
Mhm.
we're pulling 658,000 out of the 1.2
Yeah,
for whatever.
and that's how you end up with 658 prior year, right?
Exactly.
So then you spend it, so you're spending it now by pulling it out of the 1.2, and then you're spending it again next year. What?
No. You're gonna pull from a account
I should-
$658,000. And to have a balanced budget, you need revenue. So we have this thing called prior year. Okay?
Which happens to be what you're gonna set aside for demolition.
Yes, we're taking out $658,000 from the $1.2 million. At the end of next year, after we spend all that money, if we do, we would still have a balance of 600-some thousand. Because we're starting with 1.2, we're only taking 658.
And where
So
is that other money represented on this?
it's not, because it's.
Well, this is a budget.
Yes, I know, but it's not a balance sheet.
Right.
It's not a balance sheet. You have, a lot of this money's not shown there. The
So
$2
you
million
have-
in the
Oh,
money
so-
market account's not in there.
So this doesn't show the extra money.
No, it does not. No, that's on this report. If you look at current balance summary, you'll see the balances of all our accounts as of November.
So
Okay.
what we might have available to spend on open space is nothing additional in 2018.
Oh, that's usually not true.
And 334,595 estimated, because I,
Right, okay, so 334 for
next
next year, right. And we still have a balance of 600,000 at the end of next year, based on that budget,
okay,
okay?
maybe. I'll work on it.
She'll hold you to it.
Yeah, well,
Well,
we'll do our best.
I'll ask that one next year.
Okay, I believe we're still open for discussion. Any other questions on the, yes?
This is just an easy question. Do I have to get up?
I apologize, but yes.
Okay,
Other than
I can
that,
do it, I can do it. I really will, but I can do it. Okay, easy question. Fire company, I see it was 180,000 and now the new budget is only 80,000.
Right.
Is there some reason?
there was
Last year they had
a
a
truck,
a new truck.
and that was a donation.
Okay, that's good. Thank you very much.
That was an easy one. Any other questions? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Next is a resolution for setting the tax rate for 2019.
I move to approve resolution number 29, 2018 as submitted, setting the tax rate for the calendar year of 2019 on real property within the township made taxable for general township purposes and hereby is levied at the rate of 2 9/100 mils, or in other words, at the rate of no dollars and 20 9/10 cents upon each $100 of assessed value of taxable property.
I'll second the motion.
What that means, folks, is there's no tax increase. Any questions? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Next is a resolution on the French Creek Archery Culvert Replacement Payment Number 1.
I move to approve payment recommendation number 1 to Veteran Construction Company for $8,569.89 for work completed through December 7th, 2018.
I'll second that.
Any questions from the audience? Brian?
We have an estimated completion on that.
I don't. I swung by there, Erica would know, and I didn't want to bother. Do you have it?
I have it, yeah. I checked with Kyle today from Cedarville, just to get an update on it. And what he told me is, as of Friday, the full structure was set, the culvert actually, and today the wing walls were gonna be bolted on. So now, within the next couple of days, they're gonna be backfilling the structure. The only thing that he didn't have definite was the plan to install the guide rail and the pavement, which is the very last 2 steps. So depending on the weather, it could be within the next week or.
Sounds like at least by January then.
Yeah.
And-
He'll update me on that.
Okay, John, when did that fail?
Oh, God. 2.5 years ago at least.
Okay, that's what I was thinking. It's been a long time to
I drove by because of the payment this morning, and the culvert is in place, and they were working around the perimeter trying to get that fixed. But things are weather dependent, and if they have to restore any vegetation, obviously that's going to be put off till the spring.
And I'm not even sure you can do paving this time of year either. I'm not sure whether the asphalt plants will.
We need to do that.
But maybe we could go and have them drive over with dirt road on top of the culvert until it does get paved. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions on French Creek? Then we need, okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
That's unanimous there, Kathy?
Yeah.
Next is the 18-year grant request.
Kathy, do you have that? I'll give it to Ernie.
I make a motion to authorize the advertisement of a public hearing on January 21st, 2019 for the expenditure of open space funds for tax parcel 25-4-113.1, which is 15.65 acres, and parcel number 25-4-114-1, which is 36.98 acres.
Is there a second?
No, second, sorry.
What this is we came to an agreement, correct, Pam? With the, and Paul. This is going to conserve the 52.63 acres, known as the Cutler tract, or now the 18-year tract. So we're excited about this. And we were informed tonight when we came in and had our executive session that we need to do this by resolution for the expenditure. But we're going to vote that we are in agreement. And will that do it, Joe? And then we will authorize advertisement for the...
Well, you're not in agreement until you have the hearing. Then after the hearing, you would vote to do it. But based on the negotiations, you're reasonably optimistic at the end of the hearing that it will proceed.
I'm really optimistic. So, any comments from the audience? Seeing none, call for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
I apologize for making you come out one extra time, but Kathy, can you make sure this gets in the newspaper right away? We can't afford any delays in the timing for this request. So, Pam, do you want to explain what else is on this property as far as a trail and crossing the street there?
Sure, and yeah, if you want to come with me, if anybody has questions for Paul, as the partner in 18 years. So French and Pickering has been offered the opportunity to help purchase a conservation easement on what is now known as the 18 Years LLC property that was part of the large Cutler subdivision of the 153 acres several years ago. This easement will eliminate 18 of the 20 development rights still attached to this property. In addition, we were contacted by Natural Lands because the proposed crossing of St. Matthews Road from their lots into the preserve was not approved by PennDOT. So the partners very generously agreed to locate the trail on the 18 years perimeter and provide the approved road crossing. So now there will be, excuse me, a crossing from the corner lot at Beaver Hill and St. Matthews that is part of the Bryn Co-ed subdivision directly into the preserve, which would not have happened without the agreement of the partners. So any other questions? Paul?
But there's only going to be, how many houses are you putting on it, Paul?
Well, the potential to.
And it's none of my business, but then you're planning on putting it out for sale as soon as you can, or as soon as the market's ready, whatever.
Well, that's a possibility that we've discussed, but we haven't come to a final determination on that.
I think another important aspect of the easement as opposed to the development and the fact of the way the partners our retaining property is that the 15 acres of woodlands and the stream corridor will remain intact and undisturbed, as opposed to the development which clear cut everything and it was a high density development. So the whole area now, if this was the hole in the donut and everything now would be great.
We're glad to be part of it.
Thank
So
you.
thank you, Paul.
Thank you.
Thanks, Pam.
Thank you.
And so, I'd like to couple in on that.
Not bad for
Can you
some
present
anti,
this to-
Oh, the whole.
anti-open space people, huh?
Hmm?
Not bad for some anti-open space people.
Yeah,
In this past month, there was what would you call it, an appreciation
A
ceremony?
landowner appreciation, a municipal partner appreciation dinner that was hosted by French and Pickering. And we invited our easement landowners from 2016 and 2017, as well as all of our municipal partners who have committed funding to help us conserve all this land. So Bernie came and represented the township, and each partner and each landowner was presented with a small gift, our appreciation, and I told Bernie he couldn't eat his Cheerios in it, it came back to the township. So it's my pleasure to present it, and thank you very much.
Why, thank you very much. Slow to keep it very nice.
That is nice.
Nice review.
Close the one. Thanks.
I see report.
Okay, where are we? And we'll open the floor for public comment on non-agenda items. Don't make us go real quick. Sandy, come on
Be
up.
fast. I came tonight to support the police in their contract. And I would like to say that I personally feel fine with the township covering that extra $750 for their insurance. I think it's worthwhile. They put their lives on the line. No one else has to deal with people spitting on them and all the fun stuff they get to do. And I also want to say that my husband would like to thank them for solving a mystery in the Malamed household 2 weeks ago when I didn't come home and he was panicked and thought I was dead on the roadside somewhere. It was quite, if you don't know my husband, you might understand, there was quite a lot of drama in the house. And that's based on my personal history in the past of having an accident and not coming home. But the police were very helpful in calming him down and also locating me, getting my hair done quite innocently. So I don't know how much arbitration costs. I imagine it costs a lot. I know the last time we hired a lawyer, I don't know what your hourly rate is, but it was $700 an hour. So I was thinking if it's $750 per officer, how many officers do you have?
9.
9. I think the total cost you said was what, if you continue to cover the $750 that you're asking?
Say that again?
Okay, what I'm getting at, to make it quick and end the meeting, is that it just seems like I'm okay with them having the money. I know other people may disagree, and I think the cost of arbitration is money that's lost and has no productivity to it. But money put towards the police is always a good thing. So that's my 2 cents.
We agree.
Thank you. But
The 3% of part of to pay for the premium healthcare, they're compensated many other ways in their contract. And it's just that at some point in time, I mean, after the Affordable Care Act, we saw costs go exponentially higher. And we're just worried about that in the future. And it's becoming a normal way of life that you pay part of your health care. 3% is a reasonable number. And we actually make it up on the other side.
I appreciate that you're concerned about spending my money. I truly am. You mentioned in the update on the website, I don't know who wrote that, which one of you guys wrote that, but it said that there would be, that you were offering them, I can't remember the exact wording, I'm sorry, but some sort of pay raise that would in large part cover that $750. Can you say what the percentage of the pay raise?
We'll let my attorney speak to that.
We offered them an extra half-point raise, which,
In addition to a base raise,
in
or?
addition to the base raise, to cover whatever financial impact it would be on the officers to contribute to their premiums.
So is it a wash then? Is that what you're telling
It's
me?
even more of a wash, the police get a benefit from what's on the team.
Okay, so then I don't understand the problem.
Neither do I.
So I
The
have
police
arbitration.
decide
I just
arbitration.
don't, I don't,
Yeah, we didn't decide arbitration, the police decided.
I don't want them to suffer a pay decrease
It's not a-
overall from
Yeah,
having
half
to
the
cover
point
that.
that we offered them in their salaries,
Mhm.
over and above what the rate should be, more than offsets
Okay,
the cost of the 3% premium contributions. The reason why the police didn't agree to it is the very reason why the township's asking for it. Once it's in the contract, it becomes a negotiable item in all future contracts.
okay, how long's the contract for?
We haven't determined that.
Okay, is it normally
Generally-
1 year or
No.
longer?
There's 3 to 5,
Okay.
3 to 5. Most are 3, some are 4.
Could you make it so that all new employees have to pay 3%, but not the guys who've been here? So that new people coming in? No, or is that not?
That's what happened.
We offer people to reduce the copay. They want zero copay. The concept of a copay, they
Is
don't
the-
want,
is the
because
zero.
then it becomes a marketable item in future contracts. For that very reason is why the township wants it. So the negotiations went very well, the police were reasonable, the
Mhm.
township was reasonable. They both get along very well, that this township likes their police force, they do a great job. And we agreed to everything except this. And I've reached out to our labor attorney to see if they could arbitrate over just this item, or whether they have to arbitrate over everything.
And?
He's in communications with the
Okay.
police attorney. If the police attorney agrees to that, then fine, it makes it very simple and very cheap to get the answer. If he doesn't agree to it, then we're arbitrating over everything. So it's really in the court of the police as to how much to spend on arbitration, whether or not they agree to copays, the concept of copay that they didn't want to get into.
I understand, it's not
It's
a
not
lot of
the money.
places.
But like every company, I don't know of anyone who's employed that doesn't contribute to their insurance premiums. So we're just
They have a
bringing
good
it,
union.
well, we're just bringing it in to make it equivalent to everyone else's employment.
Our staff, can I say what our staff pays in
Sure.
percentage?
I think,
12.5%.
12%.
12%. We're paying-
but they don't have to put up with what police put up with.
Oh.
I have a great deal.
In that regard, the supervisor pays 100%, and you don't know what they have to put up with.
But I have an idea. I have some idea.
This board's been very supportive of the police,
Well, I
as well as the chief of police, and there's no animosity here at all. The negotiations went very, very well, everyone was very cooperative. It's just this one issue that we want something and they don't want it for the exact same reason.
Well, that's what I care about most, that things get settled amicably and
Everything was very amicable.
that everyone can be happy. Thank you.
All right.
Because we've been having such wacky weather, I just want to inform everyone, we don't know when the amphibians are going to migrate, but it could happen soon, it could happen. I will keep an eye on it, I will consult with Mike and police chief.
Yeah.
You're not
Good guess, that one.
you're not on the hook for this. And anyone who is not on my mailing list and wants to be, see me after the meeting, and we'll see what we can do to help take care of some of the critters that are living with us.
Thank you.
Hi, Merle Joplin, 2120 Lawrence Springs Road. Well, I agree with everything that Sandy said, and I tried to do some calculations in my head, and I was coming up with like $6,300 for arbitration. I was just wondering, how much will arbitration cost?
Arbitration will cost more than what's in dispute.
That's what I was wondering.
And it will cost more to the police, and it will cost more to the township.
So
It's the principle that we try to establish, not the dollars and cents, because we've already put on the table enough dollars and cents to totally offset, if not more than that, the impact of the 3%.
it seems
So it's
like
not a financial issue.
a real conundrum, like how do we really amicably get this worked out without having to do, is there any way to do it without?
Well, I've reached out to our labor attorney and encouraged him to arbitrate over just this issue, but we need the police attorney to agree to that. That's what it comes down to. I don't think it's in anyone's best interest to arbitrate absolutely everything. But if they can't limit it to this one item, because they don't have an agreement, then everything will be arbitrated.
It's tricky.
But even the arbitration on this one issue will cost more than the amount of money at stake. But
We
it puts
do
it,
have a great police force, and we all appreciate them.
I think you have a wonderful police force. I do these contracts all over the place, and I can tell you this negotiation went well. Everyone was cooperative. Their responses to our requests were reasonable. Our responses to their requests were reasonable. It was, Mike, you were present there. I think it went very well. We just had this one item that we're trying to get into the contract. So in future years, it's not a question of whether you contribute to the premiums, it's only a question of how much.
Right, but it wasn't like her idea about, well, how about just for the new people? And
The
let it ride for these
concept,
guys?
the concept of copay was totally off the table. It's not like we didn't keep trying. We kept trying, we even offered more money to compensate, so there's no financial loss.
Sarah. Tell me I'll get you next.
Okay.
So I think you're saying it's too late to go back from arbitration. Arbitration is going to happen.
We can settle
Good.
anytime.
Okay, because I thought Merrill was asking, was there a way to avoid that?
No, we can settle anytime. The police decided there's an impasse.
Okay.
And we're arbitrating.
As we've already established, when I was trying to do the budget with Mike, I'm having trouble with numbers. So you said you increased it by 0.5.
I think it's
So-
1%.
That's what, 1%.
1%, and you're asking them to do
1% what?
1% of their salary?
No, it was a 0.5.
It was 3% plus 1%.
That was 3.5, they don't have the 4.
Okay, well, a 0.5% doesn't cover $750.
Right, that was my arithmetic.
It covers $450 worth. There's $300, or $400.
Are we talking about
$300.
the salary increase is 3.5, and then there was the extra 0.5%, which got it, and so that's a percentage of the whole salary, not a percentage of
Not just,
the medical costs.
Correct.
So that's part of what was a little confusing here, because you've got the 3% on one side and the 3.5 and a half, and so that was really weird. But the other thing I heard you say, Joe, was that this will open them to negotiating the percentage of copay every year for the life of this contract.
every time the contract,
Right, oh, not every year of the contract,
Every
but,
contract.
so if you agree to the 3% now, contribution per employee,
3 to 5
then-
years from now, when they have a new contract,
that's
when they
when,
want more than 3, they may want less than 3. It's always open to
wouldn't be
negotiation.
surprised.
What's that?
I wouldn't be surprised if you want more than 3
Yeah,
then. So,
exactly.
but it's, because you called it annual negotiation, and I wrote that down, and I was sort of shocked by that, but it
So
would
it's
be,
not-
so it's for the period of the contract, whether
Right.
3 or 5 years. Thank you, that's reassuring.
We never really got around to deciding how long the contract was, we never got over that term. But I think they were in 3 to 5. We decided-
the last contract, I think it was 3 years.
Yeah, so that's why I say 3
Okay.
to 5, we never really talked much about the term.
Okay, do you guys have any brothers on that? Do you think it'll be 3 or 5?
Well, let's see.
I'm looking at them guys.
Well, that depends on the results of the arbitration.
Oh.
If it's- if
If
it's
it goes through
If
arbitration,
it's
we
a
may
no
not have
premium
any
copay,
choice.
then we're not gonna want 5.
Right.
So that was a good question though about what is the estimated amount for arbitration?
You can't estimate it, it's so difficult to estimate attorney's fees, because you're at the control of the other counsel, of the other attorney. It's not
Yeah,
like an
and every
engineer
hour-
pricing out a project,
Yeah.
he's the only one.
And every hour you spend in a meeting, you probably have an hour of prep and an hour of reporting out afterwards, so it gets, runs up in a big hurry, I understand that.
Joe won't be doing arbitration.
Yeah, right, he's got his, he already said he had his labor attorney, so I don't, but it's his firm, right?
No,
No.
It's someone you are associated.
no,
Who selected this person?
the board.
Okay.
Yeah, it's Scott Blissman from Ingersoll Rand. He's a very well-known labor attorney. He's agreed to a very much reduced rate. The normal rate would have been the 700 that you mentioned. He's agreed to do it for 300 an hour.
Okay, good, thank you for that. So, I think we're
I think it's 300. I gotta confirm that. It's about 300.
And in your experience, how often is the municipality successful in arbitrating with the union? Is it a 50-50 or is it?
The last one that I had was in West Vincent, and the arbitrators awarded even more than what the township. The township had an offer, the arbitrators gave the police less than what the municipality was offering.
So that's 1 out of 1, or do you have any
That's the
experience
latest.
beyond that one? I mean, scuttlebutt says the unions usually win. I'm just asking if
I
you can
would say
verify that.
that, it depends on what you're arbitrating over. And it depends on what kind of municipality you are, the wealth of your municipality, and what the issue is you're arbitrating over. I wouldn't say unions generally win. They have their arbitrator, we have our arbitrator, and they each pick a neutral.
Well,
So
thank you. I always learn from you, Joe.
they
Thank you.
tend to split the baby, which is not what we want here. You can't say, you gotta say you are or are not contributing to premiums. There's no split the baby in this. So, so I don't anticipate a split the baby coming.
Tommy Dolcino's, 1415 Hollow Road. Everybody knows that this went on the web pages and all that stuff. So to avoid cleaning my house for the Christmas holidays, I actually did a little bit of research and I checked out salaries, police salaries in northern Chester County. And it's anywhere from 40,000 to 80,000. But it averages out around 55 to 60.
I think isn't our average 85?
Well, and that's the next thing I did, was that I tried to look for things that were close to 80,000. The one that I got closest to was Tredefferent. Tredefferent is 77 to 84, tops out at 84. And they have skin in the game. They pay a sum for their health care. So I think that it's pretty common. I think we're all kind of jumping into this saying, you know, feeling like they're our cops, they're all that. We all love our cops. I mean, I've had incidents, you know, at my house with rabid animals, and they saved my cat and all that stuff. But at this point, it's an arbitration. This is not emotional. This is working out a deal. And I think we need to let it go to arbitration.
Well, it's not our choice.
It's not our choice, exactly. Thank you.
Any other comments from the audience?
I have one.
Sure, Brian.
At the last meeting and other meetings, I've pushed to have our board here consider having one meeting a month instead of two like we do. At the last meeting, Carl Brockwitz, who was previously supervisor of the township, stood up and said that most other municipalities have 2 meetings a month, which I felt a little odd from my knowledge, so I went and did some research. And I took the surrounding 20 municipalities here in Chester County, and as it turns out, there are 5 total that have 2 a month. There is another 2 who have 1 a month plus 1 workshop if they need to have a workshop. So it's not most, it's 25% have 2 meetings a month, 75% have 1 meeting a month. So I just wanted to correct the records and let everyone know that, you know, we're the exception and not the rule.
But if we went down to 1 meeting a month, I might not see Sandy anymore.
Well, they come once a year, that means you only need 1 meeting.
Bernie, I know you feel strongly about this, and maybe I'll change my mind. I just think that we still have some work to do, and the township being more transparent and having a couple meetings a month isn't too much to ask. And if there's problems with the police contract or, you know, whatever, the budget, question right, that we just gotta be here to answer those questions. And that's why I just can't get behind you on that, at least not at this point. So, you got an opinion, Mike?
I like the idea of one meeting, but considering the size of the audience and the questions that come up, I do think we should be meeting twice to get the information out to them, but I'd love one meeting a month. I think when there's 3 people in the audience, I'll definitely say yes. For 5.
The way to settle that for sure is make a motion, and I'll ask for a second, and we'll take a vote.
I make a motion that we consider that we will have one meeting a month starting in 2019.
Is there a second?
No. Not yet.
Good try.
You're not gonna,
No, I just can't even say I would second it, so, no. I just, sorry, Bernie.
sorry.
Any other comments from the audience? Thank you all for
I
coming.
move to adjourn.
I'll second the motion.
How about a happy New Year's or cheerful season? Thanks.
All those in favor?
Merry Christmas.
Thank
Merry Christmas.